For the Southern California Prep Insider, I'm Keith Mulder here for another edition of the Best of the Rest segment. I'm here from Benjamin Franklin High School, the home of the Mighty Panthers and the home of a winning ball club. A huge win for the Panthers, 49-33 over the Rough Riders of Roosevelt, and that was a huge game last week. We'll have the highlights from that in the podcast today, but also we have to get to the best of the rest, folks, the best of 8-man, D3, D2. We'll have it all right here on the podcast today. First, we got to talk about 8-man. I was at the Animo Robinson game. Animo Robinson, that is the correct pronunciation of that team from the 8-man division. They had a huge win over Windward last week. It was a 28-20 game that was sealed in the final moments. A huge interception for Animo Robinson, and they beat a very good Windward team at home. Huge game for them. We have an interview coming up a little bit later with head coach Darren Orange as well as their big quarterback. We'll have that in just a moment. But first, let's get to some scoring updates from the 8-man division. New Designs, University Park won via a forfeit. That game, I mean, they just didn't have enough players. That's the way it is sometimes in 8-man. These rosters, they're not very big. They often have, maybe 15 or 18 players. So that's why they have to go with 8. Win for New Designs University Park, big win for them, and then there was a couple of big losses for the 8-man division, unfortunately for the LA City section. Faith Baptist 74-6 over NVMI, and then we saw Flint Ridge Prep 78-0 over Sun Valley. Sun Valley looking to rebound this week for sure. 78-0. That's quite the loss. But either way, there was some good performances as well, some blowouts for the LA City section. Sherman Oaks CES with a 68-6 win over USC Hybrid. And then Milliken with a 52-34 win over East Valley. So that one was a little bit closer for East Valley. Obviously not a W in their column, but playing a very tough team in Milliken, that is as good as you can get. So some games to watch from the 8-man division coming up. New Designs University Park playing Sun Valley. If Sun Valley has enough players, it's not going to be a forfeit win for New Designs, but I'm expecting a huge game from that Cardinal squad. And then a huge game as well for Sherman Oaks CES. They're playing Faith Baptist, a team that, as we mentioned, beat NVMI 74-6. So this is a team in Sherman Oaks CES that had a big win last week. So did Faith Baptist. So two high-powered offenses playing each other come this Friday. Moving on to the other divisions, speaking of D3, a couple of big wins, but also a couple of big losses for those D3 squads. Some of them, kind of overlapping D2, D3. It was kind of some interdivisional matchups this past week. A lot of games being played on Thursday because of the holiday, Labor Day, but we're still doing the work for you guys. We're still giving you the best of the rest. Wilson, 61-26 over Manual Arts. That one was a romp. Wilson's looking very good this season, folks. They scored plenty of points, and I'm sure this week they'll have a big test. We'll get to that in just a moment. Chatsworth, 54-14 over Poly. Torres, 39-0 over Belmont. And then Fremont with a huge win over Gardena, 24-21. And then Verdugo Hills smashing Legacy, 55-40. I wouldn't say it was a smash per se, but they smashed their defense. 55 points on the board. 15-point win for Verdugo Hills. Huge win for them. And then looking on to D2, Reseda taking on Marshall. Connor was at that game, and he watched a very good Reseda team prove itself over a very good Marshall team. 20-6 was the final in that one. You can check out the highlights on YouTube as well. Locke with a big win, 55-13 over University. Watch out for that Locke team. They're going to sneak up on some people. Then Monroe, 32-27 over Kennedy. Canoga Park blanking West Adams, 41-zip. And then Eagle Rock with a 29-6 win over Bell. Eagle Rock just a little bit down the road. This is York Boulevard, the Battle of York Boulevard. Franklin and Eagle Rock, they're in this Highland Park, Eagle Rock area, and they have a huge rivalry. But Eagle Rock looking very impressive right now. And then, as we mentioned, Franklin, 49-33 over Roosevelt. That was a huge game. I was at that game. And just giving you guys a little bit of recap, that was, it was fantastic. There was fumble recoveries. There was so much rushing, so many rushing touchdowns from Roosevelt. That's essentially the only thing they do on offense is run the football, and they were doing it to perfection. It was basically drive after drive. They were trading touchdowns back and forth. By the end of the first quarter, I believe it was 21-21, something like 21-20, something like that. A lot of touchdowns to be said, but ultimately, Alfred Bobadilla, the quarterback for Franklin, pulled it away. He's looking like a potential all-SCPI first-team player by the end of the year, the way he's throwing the football. And I liked what I saw, not just from his ability to run, because he can run the football as well. He can take off. He can scramble. But the Franklin quarterback, he could do well passing on the run, which is something that it's really something that can't be taught. Just having that accuracy on the run. We saw a couple touchdowns. If you take a look at the highlights from that game, where he was throwing across his body into the end zone, a strike that was caught by his fellow Franklin receivers. And Bobadilla right now, he's leading one of the hottest teams in the city section in Franklin. Should expect some good things from him this week. Huge game for Franklin with a win. They're playing a Marquez team that isn't as solid, but still very formidable. So now looking at some games to watch in the D2/D3 sector. Torres versus Santee, two high-powered offenses, and unfortunately they don't have Taquan Gilmore at Torres anymore, but still their offense can run the football. Watch out for that game. Chatsworth taking on Canoga Park. Chatsworth with a huge win last week, playing a very good Canoga Park squad. Verdugo Hills taking on Heritage Christian. We've seen Heritage Christian absolutely destroy city section talent, so we'll see if they can win a game against undefeated Canoga Park. And then the game of the week, in my opinion, is going to be Wilson taking on Alhambra. Two 3-0 squads that are basically right next to each other, folks. Wilson is kind of on the outskirts of Alhambra in LA, but then Alhambra High, just a couple miles down the road. The Battle of Huntington Drive, I guess they're calling it. Either way, it's going to be at Alhambra. It's going to be a huge game for Wilson. If they pull it out, they'll be 4-0 on the year, also a huge win over a Southern Section team. So I talked with head coach of Animo Robinson, Darren Orange, after the game. I also talked with his starting quarterback and the hero of that game, really, over Windward, Alex Zaragoza, about what they think they can do in the 8-man division this season, about that game, and about, just things looking forward. You'll see that interview in just a second, but some interesting news from Animo Robinson. Hey, Coach Orange, he was telling me that he's going to talk with some people. He's going to try and see if money could be shuffled around here or there. And next year, they're trying very hard because they have enough people on the roster to move from 8-man to 11-man. And that would be huge because Animo Robinson, they have the talent. I mean, they won the 8-man playoffs last year. They won that championship over Sherman Oaks CES. So if they move to 11-man, watch out, Division III, because you're going to be playing a very tough squad in Animo Robinson. Obviously, if money doesn't shake out that way, if they can't get a field to rent, there's some logistical things that need to be sorted out. So they could be back in 8-man next year, most likely, but there's still a chance that they can move to 11-man. So that is the news update for you guys. Animo Robinson could move to 11-man. But let's see that interview with Alex Zaragoza and Coach Orange after that huge 28-20 win over Windward. For the Southern California Prep Insider, I'm Keith Mulder here from Animo Robinson High School. A huge win, 28-20 over Windward. I'm here with Coach Orange as well as quarterback Alex Zaragoza. First thing, I'm going to start with you, Coach. Sure. Huge win. You said it was a dogfight. Why was it that way?
Just scrappy all the way through. We had some big stops. They had some big stops. Both teams kind of stalled in between, but it was a dogfight all the way around. It came out to inches. Who wanted the most? Who had it, the conditioning the most? And it was a dogfight in and in.
They seem like they passed the ball really well. What did you come in defensively with to make sure to stop them?
We ran a 3-down lineman, a linebacker, 2 safeties, and corner. We knew number 6 was 6 feet 3 inches. Big guy. We knew he was going to come in. We knew they ran a lot of quick screens. We did our homework, and we were just hoping to kind of get a stop here and there and kind of win the battle. And we did that. We got a couple good stops, and it came in our favor.
You guys had a lot of offense in the second half. The first half, not so much. What do you credit those second half adjustments to?
My offensive coach and my offensive coordinator and my quarterback coach. We sat down at halftime and really made the adjustments to what they were bringing up front and what they were bringing over the top. We knew we had to get some short passes to open up and run the ball. Once we ran the ball, we was able to hit them deep, and that's what happened. We opened up with a couple runs, got some short passes, got their attention up close, and we threw it over the top of them.
So this is the best of the rest segment where we shout out, the rest of these divisions in LA City section. You guys get a win tonight. Who are you looking forward to this, come league season? Who are some teams that you're watching out for?
We're watching out really for everybody. We don't signal one game. We go game by game. A lot of teams like to say, oh, let's focus for this game. That's how you lose. We just game by game. Whoever you put in front of us, we're going to knock them out the box at our best ability. If we don't, we're going to give it our best try.
A win this week. What are you looking to improve on come the next week?
conditioning. We got a lot of guys going both ways. Even though we have a big team, I have a lot of guys who never played football, so we're holding them for next year. Just conditioning, that way we can later on in the season get through 4 quarters of football without losing anybody to cramping or being dehydrated or being tired.
So Alex, you clearly weren't tired out there. I mean, you were scoring left and right.
Yes, sir.
How was this game for you?
It was very exciting coming into this week. We knew it was going to be a tough fight, knowing Windward had those special players that they had. And we just had to practice for it. You just had to get ready for every single game. And like my coach said, is you take it game by game. It's not let's focus on this team and you lose everything because of it. You got to take it game by game.
So Coach mentioned that you guys made some second half adjustments.
Yeah.
What did you in specific make to adjust your game?
I was just noticing how every time we had specific players on each side, everybody would rotate and fast tempo ended up killing them.
And, this win, it's obviously a big thing towards the rest of the season. It's early on, though.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to take come next week?
We just got to keep fighting and hope for the best.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
This has been the Best of the Rest segment. Anima Robinson, a huge win, 28-20 over Windward. Let's send it back to the podcast. Folks, who says that you need 11 guys to play a great game of football? You can do it with 8 people. Doesn't matter. Anima Robinson, they've been doing it for years with just 8 guys on each side of the field. And they've been playing great football as of late. They're hot right now, and the way they're playing, they could easily go back-to-back, win yet another city section title in the 8-man division. But with that said, we're going to unfortunately have to wrap it up here for the Best of the Rest segment. Here from Franklin High School, the home of the Panthers, another hot team to watch out for, folks. For the Southern California Prep Insider, I'm Keith DeMolder saying thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out those highlights on YouTube. Check out the other podcasts going, whether it's Southern Section, whether it's Alex and Cotter with the D1 and Open Division podcast. Make sure to check that out. Also check out our San Diego coverage. It's all connected, all online, YouTube, wherever, Twitter. You know the deal, folks. Check us out. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy.